Hey, welcome back. Day 3, final day of streaming for the UX week here. Hey, welcome back. I'm Talon Wadsworth. I'm the lead designer of Adobe XD. Why don't you introduce yourself today?
I'm Pek Pongpaet, principal of Impekable, which is a full-service design and development studio here in the Bay Area.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
How's your first streaming week been?
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some time to maybe do some things you normally won't have time to do when you go back to work.
Exactly. Yeah. I get to design again, which is nice, and so that's been great.
Nice.
You got any feedback for me? How do I make it better?
I think you've been doing a great job. I think that your analogy, your cooking show analogy, is apt. You know, they sort of get the ingredients all ready, and then when you're on screen, you just put it together. It makes it look easy. But hopefully XD helps it make it even a little easier. So
it is.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, welcome back everyone in the chats. Tim, of course, hanging out. Matthias, Chelsea, Walter. How are you guys? Lucian. Hey, everybody. How are you? You got any questions for us today?
Yep.
Let us know. Again, we're just going to be here, designing in XD. We're taking your questions. We're going to be doing some portfolio reviews a little later in the stream. Yeah. That's new today. I'll pay a little more attention. Yesterday they caught me out. I was a little behind on the challenge. I described the wrong challenge to everyone yesterday. We got a little mixed up, but we saved it there.
Yeah, happens to the best of us.
So today we're going to be reviewing some portfolios a little later. So if you haven't, can they still submit? I think you can still submit in the portfolio review section of the chat.
Chelsea,
so go ahead and do that.
Go ahead with the questions.
Yeah, Chelsea, let us know.
What would you like to know?
So you want to talk about XD? You want to talk about design? You want to talk about small business, running a small business, small design, not small. I mean, you guys are pretty good size.
Stickers.
Yes, the chat needs. We need a little bit of that flavor. Not go overboard like Twitch chat. Twitch chat's a little crazy. But, Arturo, welcome back, everyone. All right, so we have been redesigning Pek's site for Impekable, his agency, which has been nice. And yesterday, if you missed it, we'll probably show it again today, but we actually shared 2 brand new features in Adobe XD that will be launching very soon. This month, in fact, I can say. Yeah. So we use fixed elements, so elements that are fixed on screen as maybe you're scrolling on your web page or your application, and overlays for the first time, showing them live on the stream. I hooked Pek up with one of our early builds of that, so we were showing off that. So we did some cool stuff with that yesterday.
Yeah, it was really good.
What do you think about
I like that a lot. I like that the overlay, the fixed position. The overlay is really cool because it allowed me to do stuff that I normally wouldn't be able to do.
Good. More.
And then I have even more feedback, and I'll kind of show you.
We like that. Yeah. We like that. That's pretty much been my life. Yeah. Feedback more and more. Let's take a few questions here from the chat. Yeah. Arturo, let's see. Will there be opportunity for prototype design customization? Yes, Arturo. As we showed yesterday, more advanced controls for prototyping coming. We showed off fixed elements and overlays. And the team is working on a bunch of really amazing features for prototyping, more customizations, maybe some more motion, more stateful motion design. Lots of good stuff coming. Yeah. Some other questions were kind of rolled up through the chat a little quickly. We kind of missed some of them.
Arthur?
Yeah.
Arthur had a question regarding SME and what was the hardest part about starting your own agency. Yeah. I would say, I had started an agency before with a long time ago when I was really young. And we were very technical people. I had 2 other partners, and all 3 of us were technical people. And the challenge there was nobody was a business person or a marketing person, so we did terrible in terms of business because we didn't have the connections or the sales know-how or the marketing know-how. So that kind of that false start, if you will, didn't get very far. Later in life, I had more connections and was more savvy in business. That was less of a challenge. So for people who are just starting out, developing business is definitely either a connections or a skill that you have to develop. So you can't just be technically proficient at your craft. When I say technical, I don't mean necessarily coding, but just technical at your craft, whatever that craft is. You know, whether it's SEO or advertising or design or engineering. So once you've accomplished that hurdle, you know, I think the biggest thing for most people is the drumming up of the business. Second is building a business. You know, is almost kind of getting out of the craft and hiring a team, building a team around you. That's been challenging when I first started out, right? Learning how to recruit, and once you recruit, learning how to retain people, keeping them happy, developing their careers, keeping the work, you know, balancing what pays the bills to what keeps it interesting for them to stay. Stuff like that.
Building a team, even in a place like Adobe, I mean, there's the broader Adobe, but even building the XD team, I think, has been the biggest challenge that I've faced over the last few years. I think because you're right, like you have to have all these different roles, and these different competencies and skill sets, and of course they're all people. So then they have to work well together, and you have to sort of build a process. And an organization, and that's a big challenge. That's just sort of separate from even just doing the work. So it's big. It's always a big challenge. I think it's the hardest thing to do, whether it's small business, large businesses, you know, internal teams. Building the right team is important.
And if you think Adobe has, you know, and such a great product like XD has trouble building a team, you know, even much more so a small, you know, kind of company.
It's a challenge, right? Like it's a challenge. Like you're always gonna you're really looking to build something that keeps some of our founding principles, right? When we were building XD, and really conveys that to the rest of the team, and then you know, just, you know, like people have different skill sets, and so finding the right process to help. It's just a challenge. So what are you going to do today here? We're just redesigning Impekable.
So to recap, the first day we talked about the problems. We, you know, just a real quick recap. Of the current website, we went through the website and kind of showed you the problems. And then towards the end of the day, on the first day, we started sketching it on the iPad. We can switch to the iPad, coming up with some solutions. And Talin actually gave a few great suggestions. So if we can switch to the iPad.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And
I got the controls right there.
Yeah. You know, we came up with some ideas just already to address all the issues. And then Talin had a great suggestion of how to apply, you know, tweak the logo wall and kind of maybe fulfill the need of industries and stuff as well, the industry section. And then yesterday we started working on the design.
On the design itself.
The design itself, where if I can find the right tab. Here.
Yes, that's right.
There we go.
Mirek was actually pointing out that we're the first two guests to not have any flare on our laptops.
You know, I miss the boat. You know, I think about branding a lot, and one of the things I think about all the time is just having maybe a big enough sticker that says Impekable, so that, you know, this is a missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. Well. I mean, I just can't ever decide on the right flare. I have a stack of stickers at my desk, and I always think, like, maybe there's something better. Maybe there's another one that I might like a little better. I don't know. I'm hard to please. All right, so we've got our prototype here.
Yeah, we constructed a prototype that looked like this, kind of covered all the bases. So this was going to be a placeholder for a background video. You know, we got the client wall
section,
and then we started with this. This kind of broke, but we got some great comments
that
I looked at, and people said, you know, the menu items was really small, and I previewed it again, and I totally agreed. And you know, the pink was, I just wanted a placeholder color that was super strong, and then chat, you know, being pink is really weird, but at least it called, you know, your attention.
Call to action color,
there. So you can talk immediately.
You had that as a global color, so if we want to go change that in XD, we just go in very easily update that.
Absolutely. So yesterday, after this feedback, you know, so this is the design process, right? You do something, it's not set in stone. You get feedback, you get from various folks, and then you improve on it. So yesterday after the live stream, I kind of went back in and tweaked it a little bit.
Nice.
The call to action, get in touch is no longer, that jarring thing, because also to take into account that there's going to be a video and that pink might not work in every situation. So
might distract from
distracted a bit.
Yep.
And I've seen people use Facebook chat. I'm actually willing to try that.
Do a little messenger action.
Yeah.
Actually use the icon there.
Yeah. And so with that in mind,
and somebody was asking about Lucian was mentioning the chat button fixed. And I saw that. Did you do the fixed element on your new chat?
Yeah.
Right.
It is. We'll hit play here.
All right.
And so the chat element is fixed, and the
navigation
is fixed
I'm hiding
as well.
It. There it is.
Yeah.
Yes, see, it's fixed. I
It
promise.
is fixed. It
Even
is
though I'm
fixed.
hiding it.
Yeah.
My position is not fixed.
Yeah. So we ended up just using a background from the existing website. It
nice.
worked really well already, so why
really
not?
Good. And you added a little element there on the right-hand side. Are those like jump links to the different sections of the page?
Yep. However many sections there are, there's probably going to be more. So here's the client wall, the client logo wall.
Oh yeah.
And
very nice.
this it came from Talon's suggestions. So I didn't actually add the highlight here, but
sub menus here.
Yeah. So we'll make it a bit more clear that you can select any of these, and then it'll kind of filter out or show you different logos.
Yep.
And then also kind of highlighting, so this is sort of a subsection, just kind of highlighting our partners.
Yeah. Suli, actually, the giveaway you've already entered for our first chat and win, and it might just be a nice time to sort of show it off today.
Yeah, please.
In just a little bit, we're gonna be as long as you're here, you've joined us here on Behance, and you've said something in chat, you've automatically been entered to win this little XD portfolio, and it is full of all the things that you need to kick off your project. You've got some pencils here. You got a drawing pad, and you've got these UI stencils. So little XD embroidery on the front there. So a little UX starter pack.
Yeah, it's
here
really cool.
for sketching. Yeah. So we're going to be giving that away in about probably 20-ish minutes or so. So yeah, if you said hello, you've already been entered.
Yeah.
It's all right. So we'll be announcing a winner for that in just a little bit. Yep.
So yesterday we played with the fixed element. As you can see here, the navigation is a fixed element up top. And we also played with overlay, so if you wanted to do a chat, and we're currently blocking chat, but
yes, that's right.
But if you click on the chat icon, what happens is we show this
nice Paco's on it.
Facebook chat. So this is just a mock-up of potentially what a Facebook chat bot could look like.
Let's show us that real quick on the pasteboard. Let's just sort of show off that feature and show how we kind of created that overlay.
Absolutely. Oops.
All right, so you've got Pek's got his chat pod as a separate artboard.
Yep. And actually, because it was white on white just now, what I'm gonna do is maybe select the artboard or select an element to kind of maybe add. I want to add like maybe a border around it or something.
Yeah. You select the whole artboard, the name. You select the name, and we'll select the artboard. There we go. I know you can do background blurs on an artboard, but you could
maybe
put a rectangle behind it.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
All right, so we're gonna add a little more style to the chat.
And send it back.
Send it back. Toss that background blur on. Keep the fill on, and then click background blur.
Keep fill on. Oh, keep the fill.
Yeah, keep fill on. And undo take off the border. And then click on background blur. There you go. Okay. Let's see if it works. Actually, I don't know if
you've never done it.
I've never done this. No, let's see.
Let's take a look how it works. Oh, gotta preview the thing, not this.
Not that artboard. Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Switch it over. Oh.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, because it's white. There's a white background.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We might have to. That actually, I actually is a really interesting use case. I don't know if it works yet. To tell you the
Yeah.
truth. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a border because white on white.
Oh,
is,
that's right.
yeah,
Because that's what you're doing. You were adding the border. That's right.
But we wanted to explore. Let's see. So what we're doing here is when we're doing the prototyping, right? So we'll switch over to prototype. And so this is the new feature we're showing off.
Oh yeah.
So we added and
wired
up the action
to
here.
your overlay artboard.
Yeah, and then this is kind of where it showed up.
This is a little preview of where it's going to show up on the artboard. It's going to be overlaying.
Yep.
And it's really handy about this feature. So you have your one artboard here with the big long scroll of your web page. You could actually wire up that overlay to another artboard. And basically just use it almost as an overlay component on any art, and just call it on any artboard.
So you can have pop-ups. Essentially,
yeah,
and just have artboards that are pop-ups.
Yeah,
that's very neat. I like it.
Pretty slick.
Very, very slick.
Why don't you click on the HUD? Let's show the options in there, just so people can get a sense of. Because I don't think we clicked on the arrow there. So coming very soon. Inside the HUD window here, you'll be able to choose between if you want to use a transition from one artboard to another, or to mark the sort of destination artboard, call it as an overlay. And when you do that and you connect it to your overlay artboard, you'll start seeing this little preview for positioning on the artboard it's going to be called on. And again, then now you can actually reuse that artboard, the overlay artboard, kind of anywhere you want as an overlay.
Nice.
So. Yes, very soon, very soon. This month, I will say this month. So,
this is kind of cool. What if we did slide up? Because it's a chat.
To chats, so actually slides up.
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
Let's do it.
That was like real-time testing.
Boop.
Oh, look at that.
That's slick.
Wow, that's great.
And then it went back the same way. I didn't have to specify it, so even better.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I've already started using it in some of my presentations and projects that I've been working on as I'm designing, new features in XD, using some of the latest features. Yep. Really exciting.
Yeah. And note, constantly save your work. Yesterday, we did a lot of work, and I wasn't very diligent at saving.
Oh, no.
And I lost a lot of work. But fortunately, because of my template with all the symbols, it was very fast to recreate.
Yep, Mariana, so this feature, when it launches, very soon, will be for both platforms. And again, the team is releasing features now. Every month, they'll be the same features across both Windows and Mac. It's pretty awesome. I gotta say, I'm so proud. Every time I sort of get to say that, so proud of the team and the things they've been able to do to make that happen. Big deal. Cool, so you did a little more work here.
Yeah, so we added a project. One of the feedback was, the carousel was not as efficient, and people didn't mind scrolling. So what we decided to do is kind of sprinkle different projects.
As you scroll down through the page.
While still giving all the answers, the questions prospective clients had to address kind of their issues, right? Like, so for example, who have you worked with, and you can quickly drill down by industry. So like if you're you're a healthcare company, you're industrial, you're enterprise, you can just click on those and then just see.
Yeah.
And of course, people always ask us, what do you guys do? Okay, so this is kind of just some of the services. Also, people always ask, hey, tell me about your company. They want to know, how big are you guys? How long you've been around? Just kind of legitimize ourselves a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Those are nice icons. Where did you pull those? Where did you bring those in from?
I'm a big fan of the Noun project.
Oh, yeah?
Because so we have a membership there, and it's quick and dirty.
Very easy to drag and drop those SVGs from the Noun project right into XD.
Very, very easy. Using the repeat grid. So essentially what I did was actually copy and paste this repeat grid down, and then just drag new icons and tweak them a bit. Super easy. Once I got the icons, I just put them all in, like, hey, a services folder, an about folder, and that just makes it super easy.
Just drag and drop.
Yeah,
so even though, sadly, yesterday it crashed, And you lost some work. You were able to hopefully
recreate it. It was very quick to recreate.
Nice.
Yeah. So actually, I had it last night. I had it separated out into 2 sections, and then like, well, they're small enough that maybe we can all fit into a page. And that kind of solves that. And then we sprinkled another case study, another project.
Nice.
And actually, it was a great idea on your part
I was going to ask about this.
to templatize that. I didn't get around to it, but basically, you can, like, if this is the format of a case study, right? You got your logo, you got a description, you got a call to action button, and then you got an image and a background image. You can just lay out different shapes for that, and a text area and a symbol, and then that way you just drag, you reuse that symbol asset and just drag, customize that component. Every time. So then you have that consistency in the by using assets. Right?
Yeah. So each now you really have these templates for all of your case studies, all your sort of little previews or your little previews of the art of your work here on the site. Nice. I guess I like seeing like that navigation sort of fix there is still making me pretty happy.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Olivier wants to program this site, so we have a team, but we'd love to talk to you. Yeah. And I kind of left.
That's what's fun about the chat here. You get a lot of different people. A lot of different, love it.
And then so we have the couple sections that we're missing according to the design is actually we forgot about the testimonials section.
Oh, testimonials.
And then the contact us. We want to end with the contact us. That was a good feedback where people look through this site and then they're convinced. They're like, okay, you guys look good enough. Let's work together. If you have to make them scroll all the way up to contact you again, that's work.
Yep.
So yeah. So you want to do a contact at the end?
Let's get on here. Let's do some designing.
Yeah. So, all right. So next is the testimonials section, and I'm like, let's see, what is this here? So as you can see, one of the things I've done is
organization.
Is a lot of organization. So, in talking about doing client services or even working within your own team, you don't necessarily want to hand your developers. Well, in the past, people would just, back in my day when I was coding, people would just like, hey, here's the Photoshop file, go do it, and then you have to hunt and peck for the right layer. It was a nightmare. In our organization, we're very adamant about organizing files. So you can see here, we have full groups, for every section. So you got your hero banner, you got your client section, you got project 1, services section, project 2. It just makes life that much easier,
and you can pick those, everyone. Copy and paste those, kind of move those around. Other designers come into the file, maybe a developer.
Exactly.
Even though we are going to be, I think maybe when we get to a good place with the design, actually talk about that handoff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and also maybe sneaking one other new feature, which I didn't tell Pek about.
Oh wow,
we're gonna just do it because I realize it's here in this build. So
nice.
May get another preview of that.
Right.
Yeah, we got some people talking about the handoff to developers, and we're actually gonna, when we get ready to sort of call this, we'll sort of call it done, we'll talk about that handoff process to your developer. So XD has a handoff a design specs feature, and we also integrate with Zeppelin. So if you're a Zeppelin user, you're working with Zeppelin with your developers, you can also use XD. Really slick. So
that is very sick.
Yeah, it's a nice integration. Avocode as well. Yep. All right, so you're gonna. What section are you gonna work on now?
So we're working on the testimonials.
Testimonials.
We forgot totally about testimonials. That's pretty bad. And what I like to do is actually put in a background, even though it's white, because we may change our mind and it might not be white, and we might want a background image, and then you might want to make it more interesting. Maybe you want to do a shape or something. Let's say maybe I wanted to do you know,
or like a gradient. Maybe
yeah,
too.
so like maybe if I did something like very simple, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on the show just doing this.
Yeah. Oh, Merrick also had the question. He wanted to see your grid too that we were using yesterday.
Oh yeah,
on this
yeah.
artboard when you get there.
So that's the other thing is if you look at this, is we've actually aligned everything to the grid. Yeah. So all the elements kind of here. Oops. Yeah.
And if you select the artboard, you should be able to see and actually tweak those settings so you can get a little more transparency on on those columns.
Yep. So if you could go to page 1.
Yep. Over there on the right hand side now on the panel, you can actually tweak those.
Tweak that to 25%.
Yeah.
To maybe like 15%. Actually, 10% might be sufficient.
Yep, there we go. Now we can see a little bit.
A little bit more. But you can see here everything's kind of been aligned to the artboard. This image ends right at this grid. The end of this grid. We could probably clean that up a bit.
Tweak those a little bit more.
Yeah, but that's what the grid is for. You wanna kind of. So let's do that right now.
Yeah, Suli, are we working at? Is this 1920? What size is this artboard? Are we working at?
1920.
1920. Yeah. So this is 1920 width. This is sort of you're sitting on your desktop. Maybe big monitor, maybe on your laptop. Yeah, it's a good size. Yeah. We talked a little bit about talking about like responsive a little bit the other day. Talked about how you might go about designing for responsive, and maybe it's something that again XD is working on some features to maybe help that. Mm-hmm. But maybe if we have time, we can mock up the mobile version of the website too. Right. You never know. You never know what we've got time for today.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. If you haven't yet, if you're watching on YouTube, if you haven't yet commented in the chat, being a bit of a wallflower, you're gonna want to comment because in about a minute, we're gonna be giving away this great little. It's almost like a little trapper keeper. If you went to school all the time, right?
We just dated ourselves massively.
Yes, we did. And trapper keepers, big deal. So this is a nice little embroidered XD kit, and inside it's all you need to sort of jumpstart your UX design process. You got some pencils, got pads of paper, and you've got these handy little UI stencils, little icon sets there as well, some templates. Really great. We're going to be giving that away in 30 seconds. So all you need to do is come over to the chat and just say hi. Just say, that's all you need to chat. Just whatever you tap into the chat room, then you'll be automatically entered. So everybody right now, you've got about 20 seconds. Everybody come say hi in the chat. Be entered to win little stencil kit here from XD. Yeah, just say whatever you'd like. Mm-hmm. Maybe ask a question. Let's try if we can catch as many as we can in 10, 8 seconds. Everybody, all right, if you haven't, only been used once. Actually, I didn't even use this. I don't know who drew that. That wasn't me. So yeah, you'll slightly used, minimally used. I say, all right.
Slightly used.
It's time for Chat and Win. Roll. All right. The winner will be revealed momentarily on our nice little teleprompter here at the bottom. Let's wait and see. Oh, we're gonna grab some avatars here.
Some avatars
very nice.
Oh, we got Superman here.
We need
a testimonial from Superman here.
Mm-hmm. All right, the drums are rolling. Let's see. The winner is being automatically generated and pulled from the lists of everyone joining us here today on Behance. Superman's gonna give us a good testimonial.
Yep, totally.
Let's see. All right. Oh, okay, we'll just keep going. All right. Our Adobe Live, the extraordinaire Gus, our community manager, he stepped out for just one sec. We'll just pretend the generator is still generating, and we will have the name very soon. We're just here like waiting.
Wait a minute, what's going on?
Nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening. Drum roll.
he will be back. He'll be back very soon.
Yep, there we go. And you know,
this is just, I saw a little thing on Christopher Reeves the other day. I gotta say, Christopher Reeves is still the best Superman.
He's the original.
He's the original. I don't think he'll ever, you know, I can't remember his name now. He's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right. I mean, yeah. Yes, any second. Oh, here we. All right. Yes. Seriously, any second. Yeah. All right. So we got a testimonial coming on here in XD.
Yep. And then, you know, you can go to Hipsum. Just generate some text.
Grab a little text.
Grab a little. What? This is so
Gentrify.
ridiculous.
iPhone gentrify.
Yes. This is ridiculous. Okay, this is awesome. So paste.
All right, it's coming in now.
And
Usama Metzer. Congratulations, you are the winner of our UI stencil kit. Slightly used, just minimally used. Small icon drawn on here. Usama Metzer, congratulations. Thanks for joining us here in the chat today, saying hi, being with us here on our last day of the UX Week stream. So yes, very nice. All right, congrats. This is, I don't even have one of these.
No?
No, I don't. I don't know where they're hidden. They're stored somewhere. I have not been able to get my hands on one.
That's a bummer.
So Usama has something that even I have not yet had access to. So, but if you missed it, if you want to be entered again, stick around. Paul, Tranny, and Cindy in the next segment will be giving away another of these. So you've got one more chance to win the stencil kit. So don't worry, just hang around, chat with us. Do you guys have any questions here? About Adobe XD, about UX design in general? Let me know. I said Pek is designing some testimonials here on the site, and I think we're going to be showing off, of course, one of my favorite features possibly here in a moment. I'm sort of guessing ahead, jumping ahead a little bit. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Have you downloaded XD yet? I know today we're not doing a design challenge. We're going to be doing some portfolio reviews. If you haven't submitted and you want your portfolio reviewed by Pek and I, check out the tab up there in the top of the chat and submit. And maybe we have a chance for Pek and I to review your portfolio at the end of our segment today. So yeah, go check it out. All right, Connor has a great question. Is there any way to import video files into XD? This is something I know with Pek's site design actually would be amazing. Yes, not quite yet. It is something that the team is working on right now, though, and I think will be coming, I would say, like, not as soon as fixed elements and overlays, but definitely in the next few months, we are hoping to add video support to Adobe XD, so keep an eye out for that. But I think it'd be amazing to sort of like come to the site, either have it autoplay as people sort of, interacted with the prototype, or even maybe on click.
Yep.
That'd be pretty slick.
Yeah.
So yeah, something the team is actively working on right now. So
great.
Yeah. Let's see. Jonathan Scott has a suggestion. Visually customize the prototype interactions. So the XD could export a user flow to be used. Yes, that's a very good suggestion, Jonathan. So we are adding some more customization to prototyping. We're showing off a few new ones here that we'll be launching very soon, in fixed elements and overlays. But also being able to export a user flow, a UX flow. Do you do that?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question, because when you're developing mobile apps or websites, there's web applications. There's a flow, and then files do tend to get ridiculously. Applications in general tend to get really large, so we might actually have separate design files for different flows. Smaller applications, we might have one file, and if you can imagine a mobile app, basically we just use the concept of rows as a flow. So we'll label a row. This is the sign up flow. This is the login flow. This is the onboarding flow, and then you'll have the various kind of applications. Whoops, sorry, going from left to right.
Yeah. Actually, we'll switch over to my machine. I actually have a really big one. I mean, this is not the biggest. We've definitely seen bigger. But this is, you know, this is a file that, oh, and my pinch zoom is broken.
No.
Oh no, okay, I'm gonna have to like quit this and see if this comes back. All right, we'll come back to me in a second and I'll show off some cool stuff there. Yeah, I use this one app that I think it's either Slack or something else that actually breaks my pinch to zoom.
Oh,
I don't
man.
know, so that's my problems. I'll worry about that later. Yeah, UX flows, you know, something we've heard a lot from designers. And you know what would be great, we love hearing is actually how teams use UX flows. Is it to keep yourself organized as you're designing? Is it something that you use to communicate to your clients or stakeholders or your developers like later in the process? You know, something that's kind of how we approach kind of solving and problems for designers and how we approach sort of designing new features. Is we like to think about, you know, where in the workflow, you know, is something like that valuable? Like,
right.
When do you do that? You know, so then it's just not something, it actually, you know, it has a place kind of within the workflow of XD, something we think a lot about. Let's see, Miriam has a question. A lot of UX has a lot of different sides, and we have a UX designer hired, and yeah, so different UX designers, so I think what you're talking about is that different UX designers have different skills and kind of bring different roles, like different skills to play in that, and UX design is kind of a big umbrella.
It is.
Yeah, dive into that maybe a little bit. Do you have, you know, different kind of UX designers on staff?
Yeah.
You know, how do they like to talk about their skill sets, and how do you use them all together?
Yeah, you know, being in big agencies and small agencies and big companies, you know, in a bigger company, you'll have typically more specialized roles. So you'll have like UX researchers. You know, when I was at a much bigger agency than our own, you know, even visual design and UX were different people.
We're separate. Yeah,
you know,
and in large companies sometimes you'll find that. Yeah.
So the UX person, the UX designer might be really good at wireframes and kind of placing and thinking about
the big relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the visual designer, you know, is a specialist at making the pixels look really, you know, top notch. And sometimes you'll have a researcher who will just, you know, they don't even touch the sketch tools. They don't, you know, touch the Photoshop back in the day files. So they do the research and the studies and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's a different role as well. Yeah. We're such a small organization that our team has to kind of wear many hats because we don't have enough. Like if all you want to do is just interview people all day long, we don't have enough of that, you know, because we're such a small firm that we don't have enough of that to keep someone busy full time. Yeah. So it really depends on where you end up. If you want to be really specialized, where you know you really like the research part, you know, maybe a bigger organization is more suited to you. If you like wearing lots of hats, even within the design sphere, you know, a smaller agency or a smaller company, you know, you end up doing a lot of stuff. You might even end up doing marketing design. You know, just kind of like, because people think of you as a designer. Yeah,
because
right?
No, I think that's totally right. I think that it all really does depend on the size or the scale of the problem that you're trying to solve. Right. Whether you're working in a small studio where you have to maybe wear many hats, or you know, working in a large company like Adobe. You know, I think that, you know, design, you know, personally, I think a UX designer or designer just in general should have a good grasp and be able to bring a bunch of different skills to bear. But again, like on a team the size of my own team, you know, we do have, and the broader Adobe design team, we do have designers who specialize more in, say, you know, the interaction, kind of the flow of the application, you know, thinking about that end-to-end experience. And we have designers that are focused on designing kind of our design system, you know, who are much more focused on the overall style and consistency of that system, and how the components sort of sit next to each other and kind of work together at kind of that microscopic level, you know, within the app. And then, you know, we have designers who are good at doing both. Yeah. You know, so I think it just kind of depends on what's needed. But you know, one thing I was trying to sort of share is that like the big thing is that like our work now is even a single app or a single web design can cross, you know, tens, if not hundreds, of different pages. Yeah, hundreds. And you know, that's where sometimes you need to, you know, break that work up to be the most efficient, right? To deliver a great result, and you need to have all those different skill sets involved. Yeah. Let's see. Great. That's a great question, Miriam. Garish did mention that there is another new feature in this pre-release.
Yeah, are we? Is it a good time to bring it up?
Yeah, it might.
Do we make it relevant?
How are you feeling about the testimonials?
So yeah, just to kind of recap this, this is a quick testimonial. And as you can see, while Talon was talking, I took the time to kind of organize the thing in the background. So again, if it's much easier if you do it as you go, because otherwise you're just gonna have hundreds of layers and you're like, oh, throw your hands up. And so I was organizing it as I go. So right now I have just a group just for this testimonial. If I like it, I can just make it a symbol and just go from there. And I've actually so now we have a symbol for the testimonial.
Oh, nice. So now you can kind of use that template, drop in new avatars as you go.
So I can take this guy out, drop it in. I actually made another one.
Nice.
So this is the older one.
Yep.
So and when you're making it, so I've actually aligned it to the grid here, as you can see. This is one design that I liked. So
I like that.
I just drop that over.
Yeah. And or you could use a repeat grid. Use a symbol inside a repeat grid. This is such a. let me go back and so just make this a repeat grid. And dude, check it out. Look at that.
Love it.
Symbols inside of repeat grids inside of symbols.
Yeah.
You can go wild. Actually, that was a one thing that I was talking about recently. Is that early on when we were designing repeat grid and symbols, there was this question: is like, do we limit how many of these things you can have within nested within itself? And we went back and forth, and we said, oh well, a designer would never really have more than say 1 or 2 levels deep. And then we actually put that into a build, kind of put those rules in, like you couldn't do a bunch of things nested inside of each other, and it actually felt really bad.
Yeah,
it's actually
you don't
one
want
of those,
to restrict that.
Yeah, it was actually one of those cases where we thought, best practices, you'd never want to make a really complex system like that. And we were totally wrong. Like we were totally wrong in our assumption, and that build was one of the worst builds to work in. Like it just
restricted.
I didn't think that I did that a lot. Like I had all these nested things happening within itself, but it actually felt very restrictive. It was very weird. There's a little so right now repeat grids cut off. They mask the shadows.
Gotcha.
Fix is coming for that.
No worries. Soon.
Yeah, so I think this is in a good spot, maybe to show another new feature.
Let's do it
in this build. So, today, we were talking about yesterday, like, you would want to, when you were first presenting your designs to your clients, probably do it in person. Something that has a little more personal touch, right? We're always thinking about how best to present our ideas to whatever audience, right? But then after a while, like maybe when you're getting down to say the kind of final revs, doing some tweaks along the way, you may want to send them a link to a prototype. Actually allow them to view it. So today you can publish, publicly. Just a URL, real easy. Send it out. We added a month or two ago the ability to actually add a password on there. Again, add a little layer of security because you're a professional. You're working with clients. You don't want their work to just sort of be freely out there on the web.
Right.
In this build, we've added one more layer of security.
Let's take a look. Yeah, let's take a look. Okay.
Switch over.
We switch over.
Pek's machine.
Got it.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
The iPad went to sleep on me.
Yeah.
I got it. I got it back up.
So if we pay attention to the top right.
Yep, top right. We're gonna go publish a prototype. Okay. So yesterday you published and you just created a public link.
Yep.
But down there at the bottom,
it's beta. Check it out.
A little something there.
What is that?
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
So you can click on this, and now you can publish a private link and invite just through email just those that you want to see this prototype. So only they have to log in, and only they have access to this prototype.
Yep.
So why don't you invite me?
So we're gonna have to publish it. Create a private link first.
Yep.
And
so we're gonna create this private link.
Once we add that private link, we'll invite people to it.
Yep. very, very exciting feature coming very soon.
Why does it only stop at 50%?
It's something on it's on Creative Cloud right now. It's something on the community platform. I haven't gotten to the bottom of it. Yeah, it sort of hangs up there. All right, so now it's been published. Now you can invite me, so you can just use Talon at adobe.com.
Adobe.com. I can't spell, or it's too tiny. What is this, font for ants? I love that movie, hence the testimonial.
Me too. And we're working in a very large resolution size here, so yes,
super.
More,
the fonts are so tiny. It's not that it's hard for me to see on. Anyway, so check my website. Oh, yo.
Sweet.
Yeah,
all right.
boom.
So we're gonna give that a second.
Switch over.
I'm gonna. Well, in a second. I'm gonna open up my email. So
gotcha.
No one can see my
email. Got it.
So I'm gonna wait. You're gonna have to trust me that I'm gonna get an email here.
Right.
From Pek, and then I'm going to launch that, and then it takes me. Let's see. So now I don't think it should take me very long to sign in. Okay.
So while he does that, I'm gonna
now,
a new section.
Here I am. I'm going to sign in. Again, and now only I can see the latest revs to the Impekable site here. Ooh, looking very good. If you missed it, we also are using 2 other new features in prototype mode. We're using fixed elements. So now when I scroll, that navigation header stays fixed to the top of the page. Also, the chat icon, so you can actually chat directly with Pek, stays there. And now when you click on the chat icon, a little overlay artboard actually pops up right on top of our prototype. So fixed elements, overlays, and private sharing coming very soon to an Adobe XD build near you. Nice. So yeah, so then there it is, and I can type in a message and send a message directly to Pek and ping it on his iPhone. It's fun. Go to the site. You can do it today. And then I can, of course, sort of review all of the great work here, and I can make a comment. And again, this is going to now be, a working sort of collaboration between, Pek and maybe me as the client or as another designer inside the studio, and ensures that no one else can access your prototypes. So, pretty exciting. Tim had a question. So this works with Adobe emails only? Yes, Tim. You can everyone out there using XD can only share with me. That's the real privacy. That's real privacy. Yeah. Don't worry, I won't let your secrets get out. So, yes. Yeah, so this is going to be. I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm excited to use it. I've been using it a lot with my team over the past week or two, so I am very excited to get this out in the hands of everyone. So
very cool.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
So yeah. Okay. So we've got some sections going on here. I do have a fix to this. It's going to be a little wonky.
Yeah.
So go in and select just all the elements inside of the repeat grid.
Yep.
So, so go in and you do the command click, and then, just that one. So, command click there, and then if you do select all. Okay, now shift it to the right.
Whoop.
So we're gonna have to adjust, drag it from the right and down a little bit, so you can see the shadow. Look at that. So it's masking the shadow right now, so if you drag it out, then you can see the whole shadow. And then we'll go back and adjust our padding between the columns.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Yeah, there's a fix.
There you go.
Yeah, work around. No worries.
Oh, Tim actually meant Adobe IDs. No, it doesn't. I don't remember. Yes, I think you may have to create an Adobe ID for the first time you log in. But it's really simple. We have social sign-on now. It's really a slick process. That's pretty good, Tim. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Looking nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So, all right. So we got You got all your sections here.
Yeah, we're starting our last
section here.
one.
All right.
So we might want to.
Oh, there was one other thing I thought maybe you had going on that we talked about yesterday with that testimonial section. We were talking about the Pathfinder, like some of those details, like within the app, that are like really cool, like when you use them, but they're really kind of subtle, or the things that maybe you sort of like, oh, it works that way. I thought it always worked that way.
Yeah.
We're using the Pathfinder on the background of your testimonial.
Yes.
All right. So click on that object. Let's look at it here. This one, the background of
This object.
Yeah, that one. Did you use the Pathfinder on that? Or no, you have a border.
Border.
Ah,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, but this is a path right
That's
here.
That's a path.
This guy.
All right.
So do you want to do anything to that?
Well, we could draw that one maybe a little different way.
Sure.
So
okay.
maybe delete that one real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So there was a point. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll just delete the whole object here.
Yeah. So draw just a full like you had a rectangle that full width, didn't you already?
Yeah.
So draw another rectangle. I'll just or copy and paste it on top of there. So copy the background you have there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and I'll paste right on top. Double click on it now. Select that point and drag it.
Right. So we can make it even more interesting.
There you go. You can do that.
Like that.
Yep.
Yeah. That's visually interesting.
Yeah. And maybe make that one a color.
Yeah.
I can change the color.
Yeah. So then we'll fill it, and we'll go. We have a gradient pre-set up. Well, so this is a linear solid color, so we'll do the linear gradient, and then we'll pick this guy up. And we want to tweak it. Oh, is it still doing solid? Linear.
Yep. So now make that make the gradient a swatch. So then you'll have that as a swatch.
All right. Boom.
All right. Cool. Now you have that gradient. So now what you can do, and this is just for our demonstration, select the background square and the rectangle and that shape. So this is one of my favorite little hidden features. So up here now, if we need to say we wanted to make even more interesting shapes, we use the subtraction or the union. And now in XD, when you do that, so today in Illustrator, it actually just kind of cuts it out, right?
Right.
It's kind of one of the
kind of destroys it. It's destructive.
Yeah, all in love. But when you click on this now, what it does is actually takes those two shapes and makes them into a special group. And you'll see it actually change state here. And now, like, if you don't know which one, maybe you're kind of experimenting, you don't know which is going to work. Like those two shapes are now still there, and you can actually move them around. So do subtraction maybe instead.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, you can just actually keep it. And that's the cool part. So redo that.
Okay.
So it's unioned.
Yep. Actually, don't do.
Right.
All right.
See how now up there
selected,
it's actually in a state. So now just toggle it. Yeah.
So now it keeps it intact.
It keeps it intact, and now you can just toggle between those different shapes, those sort of results of those different operations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite little hidden features.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then if I don't want it, I just kind of
just ungroup it.
Ungroup it.
Yep. There you go. All right.
Cool.
We'll find a better example. And I just found out like I don't know what is going on with my Mac today, but my
pinch zoom
is out. Well, I wanted to show cool stuff, but it decided not to work for me. All right, we'll keep you showing all the cool stuff. Yep. So yeah, how's everybody doing in the chat? You guys have any other questions for us? Pek's just sort of getting his site here. We just showed off kind of private invite. Why don't you keep doing the contact section, and we'll get ready to maybe talk about the developer handoff as well. Yep.
So yeah, real quick, we might want to make it a little darker or something.
Yeah, Chelsea, it is more like 3D software where those two shapes stay. They sort of just get specially grouped together, and you can actually go in and select them and move them around and just sort of toggle those different sort of operations and see which one you like best. Right. Mark, so what's happening on that shadow up there, and if Pek just ungroups it, you'd see it with that repeat grid. The repeat grid right now is actually masking the drop shadow, and it's something that we're looking at tweaking here in an upcoming build. But if you ungrouped it, then the whole shadow would still be there on those shapes. Yeah. Yep.
Actually like it a little lighter, and then
I would. He's still making me laugh. Having a share with Talon feature. Yes, actually, I think Jonathan was saying earlier. I always like seeing the work you guys are doing in XD. So if you guys do want to share with Talon, you feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Talon. I'm always happy to check out work. I love seeing what you guys are creating, all the great work you're creating in XD. So, but I only accept prototype links. That's it. I only accept prototype links. Or Behance projects, that's fine. Whatever you guys want. I'm always happy to check it out. And we're going to be checking out some portfolios today in about a half hour. We're gonna review some portfolios. So if you'd like a chance to have us review your portfolio live on the stream today, go check out that tab up there in the portfolio review. And we're gonna be doing a little critique session here at the end of the stream today. So check it out. Chelsea had another question. So having 10 completely different resolution and the UI is tailored for each project. Yes, Chelsea, that's definitely something that we have found challenging in our own work. Sort of working across all these resolution spaces, exporting assets for all the different platforms. Pek, is that something that you guys run into? How do you guys handle that today?
Yeah, it's
when it comes to
the biggest the biggest stuff we deal with is just mobile responsive and the web desktop.
Mm-hmm.
Our front end engineers, unless there's like a really weird state where you have to handle it specially, most of the time there's just a direct one-to-one communication. And, there's definitely a communication handoff, and like I want this to work like this, and that's kind of more like not necessarily offline, but kind of face-to-face or online, or there is a handoff where you're not just sending over the file. There may be like a 1024 version, the really wide version, and then the mobile responsive version, and then kind of things in between. People just kind of figure it out and they work together. That's kind of where we're at as a company. And
you really rely on your developers to kind of provide the information, like at what resolution do they need those assets. But of course, as a designer, and Chelsea, this is one thing that maybe this might kind of echo with some of the things you're thinking about. Your team is that we want to preview accurately, like at least simulated at that pixel density for whatever device we're doing. And the way that we kind of do that today, it's been kind of a hard problem to crack inside the application, because again, we'd be kind of simulating like what that visual looks like on these different devices, sort of using the resolution like of our laptops, or is that we have been trying to really help you be able to preview on the devices that you're creating for. And so today we have an app for both iOS and Android where you can preview your designs on those devices. And what better way to sort of troubleshoot than on the devices themselves. But we all, Pek was mentioning that kind of handoff, that delivery of assets out of XD, and that's something we're gonna show off here as Pek starts to wrap up this sort of contact area. We're gonna talk about that handoff to developer and giving the developer control over and access to all the various asset sizes that they might need. Say if they're they need to download an image or an icon asset from your design. Again, taking some of that load like off the designer, so the designer isn't having to kind of reach out directly to the developer or to continually hand off different assets. Things get pretty confusing. You're like, what version of the asset is this? Well, this is the 1.5 version. Well, I'm actually looking for the 2x version. That gets kind of crazy. So one of the things that we're trying to do with the design specs feature inside of XD is to kind of help facilitate that. Again, like if you're designing for the iPhone, inside of XD, then when you deliver a design spec, should you give the developer controls to download the assets like at all those resolutions? So that's something we're looking at as well. But it's a tough problem, Chelsea.
Yeah,
I don't, you know.
And then having the collaboration, you know, that's one of the things we like about Zeppelin is, you know, the engineer can ask questions right there, and like, hey, what do I do for this thing here? You know, like, hey, do you have the hover state for this? And you know, there's always something that's kind of usually overlooked or something. So like, you know, a hover state for something is typically, you know, like if you look in the chat, the comments, right? Like, or hey, what's the error state for this? Or, you know, so having the tool kind of enable that does cut down on the back and forth. Yeah. So let's see. So we got. So
we got our form here. Sort of, we're trying to get a very streamlined kind of form to help people contact you, maybe for some potential work. Yep. This is kind of the more, again, this is the sort of alternate version from, you know, if you just wanted to reach out directly via the chat, like this is where you give a little more information about, you know, the project description and the budget. Yeah. So that communication with your developer, I think that definitely is key. And actually, if it's not there, the team is working on, we have commenting on prototypes, bringing commenting to the spec as well.
Got it.
And not there quite yet, but will be soon.
Yeah.
So
the repeat grid was again very useful here. So all I created was just a very simple field with a form field. I just used a repeat grid to just kind of double up on that, and
nice.
You know, that
added the little drop down. Very good.
Yeah, that's kind of all we need for now. You know, we can center this. We can actually look better centered.
They center it, yeah. Center the button down below it. There you go.
This is whoops, I didn't do it as a group. Lock this guy down.
Tim actually posted a link to go check out if you are a Zeppelin user or maybe Avocode. We do have integrations with those services right now, and more on the way. And Tim is touching on, we will actually this year have, and we just announced, a whole sort of ecosystem of plugins that will be available for XD. One of the things that I remember sitting in some of those early meetings, and there was one of our like foundational statements is like XD will be a platform for creativity for the community, not just in the design, but also for developers as well, to create great tools to sort of live on top of the XD platform. And I've been getting a peek at a bunch of those over the last few weeks.
We'd love to make some plugins for you guys.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what you guys do with that.
That's great, some ideas.
Maybe things for yourself to use internally, but also maybe to share with everybody else.
Yeah, like like ridiculous quotes to pre-fill the stuff would be nice.
That would be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the next sort of exciting phase for us. And like I said, I've been getting some peek at some of the stuff that everyone's been working on. We've got some more integrations coming. If you want to go check out on the Adobe blogs, we actually have a big post from our Senior Vice President, Scott Belsky, on extensions, and we have a developer fund as well, where we pledged, I don't remember what the exact number is, to get developers started. Actually, go and you can submit and actually get some of those funds for the development of your plugins for XD. So you guys should go check it out if you're interested.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right.
So we're looking pretty good.
Take a look.
Let's take a look at it.
So we got the testimonial section. This kind of worked really well. I think some of the drop shadow, I probably went too far in terms of the blur.
The blur there.
So I could probably tone that down.
Or you could just ungroup that section too, and then it would just it'd lose the mask of the repeat grid, and then we just do that real quick too.
And then just contact us. I probably have more footer information. Do we need to? I know we have a lot to cover, and we're also doing portfolio reviews.
Sure,
so I want to make sure we have ample time for that.
Oh, yeah, we're doing great.
Okay.
So we're doing great. Why don't we were talking about that. There might be a few little tweaks you want to make, but we were talking about the handoff to developer, and I thought it might be nice we could sort of walk through some of that design spec process.
Let's do it.
Again, if you maybe are familiar with services like Zeppelin or Avocode, we also have a sort of delivery for your developer out of XD. And we were talking about some of those, how do we deliver the right assets? And so it might be, again, you've wrapped up your design, you're ready to start communicating that to your developer. So you can, go and you can actually publish a design spec. And also, again, we're showing it off again for the first time today on the stream. We're actually able to share a private link as well.
And, probably best, this sort of stuff is
Keep it
probably
under wraps.
under wraps. Yeah. Website V2.
And so we can track again, which may do across different changes because we know, where there might be other changes. And if you notice here, there was one little thing that there again, we're trying to hint at some of those, cracking that challenge of delivering the right assets for your developer. I think it showed that it was designed for web.
Yep.
So again, trying to deliver the right assets to whatever it is you're designing, and just send that. You can send that my way again. I'll go open it up.
And I like that it had the. Since I've sent you an email before.
It auto fulfilled.
Excuse me.
All right, and I'll wait for that to come in. But this is actually how the team has been delivering for our developers as well. Again, it's always cool to sort of be using features that we're designing. Again, we're kind of the first line of defense, my design team kind of on some of these features and to continue to sort of push them forward. And so we always like sort of seeing others check them out. All right, I'm gonna view the design spec. I think I'm already signed in. So now we're gonna go over to me. It's not connected. There we go. All right. So now, again, I've received the link, which is very much like the prototype link.
Yeah.
And now I can actually come in here as the developer. I wear many hats. I do it all.
Literally
many hats. So now, as a developer, I can actually select these elements in the design. And I can see the measurements and the styles, and any sort of, again, like maybe there's some copy. I can actually see the copy that's being used.
Yeah.
So you can see here as I select the big headline, I can actually see.
Is there a button that'll just copy?
Yeah, just click on it.
Just click on it.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. Same thing. Click on the color to sort of get the hex color. Can click on the font style name as well. And any of the measurements. So yeah, and I can scroll down the page here. I can, again, my trackpad is broken, but you can zoom in and out as well. And then one of the features, and Chelsea, we were talking about this. One of the features we're working on is, as a developer, what if your developer could actually go here, select this icon, and actually download the SVG directly, or the PNG.
That would be
at whatever resolution they need.
Yeah.
On demand. That would be pretty slick, right?
That would be very slick.
Pretty good. So, maybe more. So coming for that. So this is really handy, and so now you've been sharing with your clients or anyone who you want to review a prototype. Now you can just send to your developer, and manage that all from within the same file.
Can the developers leave some comments?
Not yet. So if we jump over to here, you can see there's a comment icon here.
Yep.
Very soon there will be a comment icon.
Perfect.
There as well.
Yeah.
So,
yep. That just keeps everything in there, and then kind of see the trail of information too.
Yeah. Lots of things the team is working on there. So, you guys have any questions about this? Let me know. And this is something that we're still actively with. So we just love hearing feedback and seeing how people are using these designs. Because it really helps us actually, make XD better. Oh, and then of course, this one, I don't know if this one in the future, you also, once you've been invited to and have access to your prototype, rather than having to follow and keep that link, I can actually log into assets.adobe.com and see everything that's been shared with me. So that's going to be pretty brilliant. It's going to be pretty slick as well. I got all the styles that are called out here. Can copy those. That's pretty good. You guys have any? Let's see. Darren's been asking some questions. Looks like they're talking about kind of what's coming up next. We've got, of course, streaming coming all the time. You guys have any other questions about XD? You have any questions about UX design or running your own business? Pek has got a ton of experience on that side of things. Let's see. Miriam, I can't give you a hard date on animation or maybe micro interactions, but this is something the team is actively working on. It's something that I know I've wanted in XD for a very long time. Do you guys find yourself at the studio doing a lot of little micro interaction work, you know, for clients? Like, are they looking more for motion?
It does come up. It does come up,
yeah.
And I'll show you cases where it does come up. For web and mobile, most transition stuff, you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's pretty self-explanatory. But certain interactions, it's really hard to explain. Let's see. And for that, we do use animation tools.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys use?
You know, After Effects.
After Effects, yeah.
We use, you know, Flinto, Principle. It's all over the board.
Yeah.
So here's an example. You know, this is so this would have been really hard to describe to a developer.
Yes, indeed.
You know, so this is
a lot
the
of
type of
complicated
stuff.
things going on there.
Yeah, a lot of complicated things. So this is something where animation is really useful because it'll just save you a lot of time, right? If you imagine just trying to like draw a bunch of different states and drawing different arrows, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
So this is where, you know, animation does come in handy. And then we also use animation to tell a story, but then, you know, those are simpler animations.
Yeah.
You know, so like you're just kind of going through stuff. So let me kind of
Yeah. I think, you know, like like this kind of stuff. Yep. And actually James mentioned, you know, like rollovers, particularly on web, right? Really important.
Yep.
So, you know, hover states. This is really great. I love seeing this again. Like, I think with XD, as we're trying to break down this problem, like, where do we go with animation? Where do we go with these micro interactions?
I'd love to be able to do perspective transforms. Simple, you know, like not a lot of, not crazy, but like look at like something like that. That would be really cool.
I mean, and I think that is something that you can do like in iOS apps. It's something that like I think in iOS development.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the type of stuff that just makes it really nice.
If anyone, if you here in the chat, if you guys have examples of things that you'd like to do in XD when it comes to animations, you know, Miriam, tweet them at me. Again, these are things that we're using to actually, again, sort of define the roadmap of features as we, you know, start to support more stateful animations. And there's an honest question we have because we have, you know, After Effects is here, you know, is part of the broader Adobe toolkit. Like, what's the right level of animation for XD? What's the right level for UI design? And those are something that we're really looking at. Because you're saying like some of those more storytelling things, maybe you'd want to actually do something that is actually meant to do maybe more in After Effects.
Right.
But if you could do that in After Effects, but then bring it and embed it inside your XD prototype, right? Like we also think there's maybe a workflow there. So yeah, and if you guys have any other feature suggestions, Tim just put our link to our user voice forum. And I know animation has been one of the top voted on features on our user voice forum where people are.
And this is where video would have been handy. You know, just things showing like, you know, even if this was a purely 2D animation, because we're trying to tell the story of this kind of like fight news mobile app, you know, we're showing video. Be cool to just within the tool be able to embed a little quick video snippet to kind of showcase that. And those are all, I think, really exciting examples of things that we'd like to hopefully do in XD in the not too far out future. So we have some other questions in there. Arthur, good way to deal with retina displays. Actually, that's one of the things that we thought a lot about in XD. If you go in and you design in XD, and maybe this is something that you could show real quick, when you go to export, if you're designing, let's say at the 1x or the unit size, right? When it's time to export, if you need to export for retina displays, you can export both the 1x and the 2x like at the same time. So yeah, I always thought that sort of doubling the size of your design was kind of a hack in a way. Sort of get around some deficiencies in export. So let's see. Ryan had a good question. Ryan, on the icon breaking apart on delivery spec, that's something the team is working on. If you group it now, make sure it's grouped. That will help, but right now the design spec is getting a little too introspective. Inspecting all the shapes sort of within that group. Something the team is definitely hearing feedback from other designers, something we're working on. So William had a question about code snippets.
Do you think that you've got the engineering background? How valuable would code snippets be for you in delivering a spec from a designer?
I think the CSS for sure is really helpful. I don't know the state of parsing or generating HTML. I mean, back in the front page Dreamweaver days, like I know for a fact that we could have written better, cleaner HTML ourselves that would be easier to understand and maintain. So we never really used the generated HTML. We just ended up just hand coding that stuff.
We definitely internalize, I think all of us, if we've used those tools or not, like we've all run into that. Doesn't create clean code, and I think people are developers are rightly skeptical, but also developers are creatives in their own way, and they've through experience figured out ways in which to write code that works the best for them. Right. And so everybody does it maybe even slightly different. But I think you're totally right. I think there is a level there. It's a great question, and I think we're gonna like with animation, we're interested in like what's that threshold? What code? How much code is too much code? Really? Right. Like. CSS, I think, is a great first
CSS
step.
is a great first step and already a time saver. If I just get a block of CSS and that I can just drop for that element, that would be great.
And Miriam, you asked about GIF support too. Yes, we're working on that right now diligently. The team is working on video and GIF support. So the memes will come home in XD. You can already, if you didn't know, we talked about this yesterday. One of my favorite little not talked about features. There's emoji support throughout all of XD, UI, Canvas. Go crazy with your emojis. Always good. So
nice.
But yes, we need the memes. We need the GIF support for the memes, for sure.
Color coding with emojis, nice.
So again, if you guys want us to check out your work, we're gonna be checking out some work in about 15 minutes.
Let's do it.
So where are we at here? What else do we, we've got a little time here. Like, what would you want to do next in the project that maybe you could using XD might be actually pretty simple, pretty fast to do?
So we talked about the problems. We have a new design. Before I might polish this out a bit more. And what I'd probably like to do is now go back to the people that we talked to and maybe some new people, kind of show them the design and get feedback. Because right now, it's just very insular. It's just us. It's just all in my head, whether this solved the problem or not. So, maybe doing hey, here's this. Maybe I wouldn't even tell them that this is before and after. It's like, okay, here's two designs, and one of them is actually the old site, and see what do they think.
What do they think? Sort of side by side comparison.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually something the chat might be able to help you with. Like yesterday, we had a bunch of comments.
Yeah.
Actually, one of these again, like the little details here, a little thing that maybe you don't realize unless you've done it a couple times. If you sort of do a save as from your previous file, and I know you versioned up here. It will still republish to that same link that's out there and available. So if you maybe want to update the public link, so go back up to the publish menu and go to the prototype, and you can switch back. So now you can actually maintain both together. So if you go back to publish here and click here, so you can have a public link and a private link coming very soon. To XD, and now if you just update, that'll update the same link from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So if just actually maybe not. So actually no. Okay, so we're gonna create a new one. So maybe it did.
Well, the old one still.
Maybe it's because it crashed.
Yeah, but the old one still is there. So then we have two links, and that's fine too. So that I can send people like, okay, here's this one, here's that one.
Check that one. Good point.
Basically, A/B testing.
A/B testing it. That'd be good.
So I don't want to. You want to get feedback as soon as possible, so you can make adjustments. So thanks, Arthur, and that's because otherwise, this is your baby. You can obviously tied to it, and you can tweak it to perfection. But we, in the interest of time and shipping and really just delivering on the product and really updating the website because it's so darn old. Getting to the right, and it's not just about what I want to see, but it's really about what the customers and right. So we make sure we want to see as soon as possible if this is doing the job, if this new design is doing the job.
That was one of the was the first time when I was on the stream and I was designing in XD, and I was able to share in real time and like get feedback on a new feature that we were designing for XD. That was really exciting. Like the speed with which I could, you know, send out the link, get that feedback, work on it a little bit, tweak it, you know, iterate on it, and then republish that link directly again, and still have everyone who had received the link before still have access to it. Kind of watch that and sort of follow that, you know, that development. Like, yeah, it's kind of been like one of the most exciting developments.
Yeah.
Like I think in using XD, and why, you know, I started the minute I could use it full time. The minute I had a build that was, you know, had the core features in it. Like I was using it to do my work, to publish to my team, to get that feedback loop and going as quickly as possible.
And to that point, you know, the feedback, when you do it in real time, when you're presenting the design to customers, and then they say, oh, you know, I don't really like this, can you try this? And then if you're there and you know, open up your design tool and you start tweaking and showing it right there, you also get a very different reaction where it's immediate, and they like that as well. So I think there's something to be said about presenting the design in person, getting that reaction immediately, and then also maybe having the design tool, and then just like, hey, do you mean like this? And then that really cuts down the time. Yeah. You know, if that's not possible, at least taking in the comment, you know, the feedback, and synthesizing it later. But if it's a small change, you know, if they're really hating that color, for example, the pink, you know, you can just go in and like, oh, okay, you don't like pink, here's, you know, another color. What do you think of this? So
yeah, I think you're right. I think at every point in the process, you're really looking for like the best way to present or communicate your ideas. And you know, again, one of the things with our team is our team has built. Again, we've built out a team now who has we've established a process. And that process really kind of helps us move very quickly. And so, you know, we all kind of share the same shorthand, you know, a lot of times. Again, it's on new initiatives, I'll still present in person. But even up to the development of that presentation, I'm still sending it out for feedback and really getting that feedback loop started quickly. But again, like, we're an internal team, you know, we work very tightly, very closely together, and that's very different from a client relationship in an agency setting. But you know, I think there are ways that, you know, we can find in each part of the process the best ways to communicate our ideas and to build that trust with clients or with our teams, right? Yeah.
And Matthias says, Pek likes his Bootstrap. Yes, I'm OG Bootstrap. When that thing came out, oh my God, that was so good. You know, prior to the existence of Twitter Bootstrap, or Bootstrap before it was Twitter Bootstrap, you know, it was a lot of hand coding the same stuff over and over. When Bootstrap came up with this framework, it was just, yeah, it was amazing. It was very transformative.
Yeah, I think, and Bootstrap and the other one, you know, we've been talking a lot about design systems, right? That's been a thing kind of out there in the air with the design community, and I think it's grown out of Bootstrap, but also, in my mind, out of iOS.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you remember like that the explosion of apps, you know, on the iOS platform, and the explosion of designs. You know, I took an iOS crash course, and I got to sort of go and dabble in that, and you know, T-Handle-X basically created a document that were visually for designers, giving them the components, you know, visually representing the components that were actually inside of the development tool for iOS, for their iOS developers.
Yeah.
So when you would use that UI kit and you would deliver it to your developer, they would see that, okay, that toggle, I don't have to go build that toggle. That toggle is the same toggle that's inside of Cocoa, inside of the development.
Right, it's the native component.
Objective-C.
You don't have to recreate.
So there's this one-to-one, visually at least, there was this one-to-one relationship. And I think, you know, Bootstrap took that even a little further and created that, like, you were actually coding with the components, right? And again, the designers were creating UI kits that represented visually that component.
Yeah, it made the process so much more efficient.
Yeah.
Streamlining. Yeah, and it was a system, like you said.
Yep. Yeah. And I think now, you know, the thing that you know, and one of the things I can say the team is actually investigating is, you know, how do we continue to connect the dots, you know, with our developers, right? So that what we see in XD is accurately sort of designed in code, is actually sort of represented in code, and just keep shortening that gap in communication.
Yeah.
Right. Again, with design specs, delivering again maybe a little more information than was delivered previously. But how do we continue to kind of close that gap? Not necessarily representing code one-to-one,
right?
But maybe at a component level, maybe connecting the dots.
Right, right. That would be interesting.
In.
I'd love to get the XD team's thoughts on that, because it's been many approaches and many philosophies, and how do you want are you essentially wanting designers to code, or do you want to generate code? Obviously businesses want, like, okay, if it's already designed, when can we have it? And all the engineers always need to take time to code it up, and it's always especially when you see a high fidelity mock-up. Some unsophisticated clients will always like, well, it's already done. I can click around. Why isn't this done already?
Not quite.
Like, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely we're really interested in. So, if you guys haven't submitted and you want us to check out your portfolios, you've got a couple more minutes, and we're going to be reviewing your portfolios today here at the end of the stream. Yeah. So that's kind of exciting to see some work.
So you mentioned the Tihan Lax UI kit. So I have a funny story around that. We are great admirers of the Tihan Lax UI kit. But being our own agency, it frustrated me to no end that it's like, why am I using some other agency's UI kit? We should be doing our own UI kit. So when Apple announced Apple Watch and then showed some stuff, on the keynote, I had one of our designers. I said to myself, we're going to have to be the first to do the Apple Watch UI kit, because Tihan Lax has got the iPhone UI kit, and we're not going to, kind of. So what we did was, before there was any, just from the video, one of our designers kind of freeze framed and painstakingly recreated the Apple Watch UI kit back in, this was like 4 years ago. So these screens that you see here were created just from the videos.
Nice, very cool.
And thus we were the first, to get out
there.
there, and you can see that from the views and stuff. That was really good, successful.
Nice.
If you're thinking about marketing yourself and stuff like that, this is like a great pro tip. Just like, be on top of what's trending and cool.
For sure. Have you tried to bring that into XD?
We haven't. This is so old.
That was old now.
Right, this is
so
you
could update it with some of the new stuff they announced.
And frankly, just as a business, we've seen very little Apple Watch work
for sure.
projects. I mean, I can count on one hand how many Apple Watch projects we've worked on.
I was very selfishly sort of thinking about that, because we just 2 months ago released PSD import for XD. I'd love to just see
how it works,
how it translates.
So, we could try it. And,
also, speaking of UI kits, though, you might want to hop over to your dashboard UI kit. So Pek and the team created a really amazing dashboard UI kit. Like, if you're creating, a lot of find yourself creating a lot of dashboards, maybe enterprise. This is a really amazing kit that you created for XD, right here. You guys should go download it.
Yeah, so we as a company build a lot of SaaS products, a lot of SaaS dashboards. Within a year, we probably do at least 10 of these projects. So we've built a lot of domain knowledge around what makes a good dashboard. And actually, internally, we have I created a presentation on like Dashboard 101 and kind of going through all the basics of all like these are the necessary elements, and these are the advanced elements and all that stuff. What are the things to think about? Yeah,
if you find yourself designing a project like this, go check this out. This is a stellar design.
And this is the features. Prototype that we embedded, so you can
nice. So you can actually go test out the prototype.
So you can click into this.
Very cool.
And you can check that out. You can see there's a lot of components. And design, this is kind of going back to, if you're trying to do very little in the world is actually very original, completely original.
Yeah.
Everything is a twist off of something.
Well,
and we encourage people, you know, even our own team to just like, instead of starting from scratch, start from a UI kit and just start tweaking that and making it that your own.
Definitely.
Or at very least, saving a lot of time prototyping and getting.
I think it's the key. Getting the prototype is as quickly as possible is the key. So.
Yeah.
All right, we are ready to review some portfolios. We've had 2 chosen from the submissions today. Super excited. I have them loaded up on my machine, and we are gonna start checking out. And I'm glad to see both. I think both of these people we're gonna be reviewing today are still hanging with us here in the chat. So why don't we switch over to my laptop and we will. Oh, that's right. Never mind. Never mind. I forgot. Paka. I'm sorry, Paka. We have a really nice transition. So here we go. We are ready to go into portfolio. Oh, review time.
Whoa!
Oh.
I'm floating.
This is my first.
Turn on gravity.
This is my first time doing this on the stream. These have been floating around the the studio for a while.
Nice.
I have yet.
I was wondering how we're gonna.
How are these gonna play in?
Yeah.
Yes. What do you think? Quick hat switch. We are. Oh, and it's in like the console.
Yeah.
I'm geeking out, Paul. I have not done this yet. This is kind of funny on stream. Yes, it is.
On screen. Number 1.
Little hot. I'm gonna go back to my professional designer style. Yeah, the beard was definitely getting mashed. I could not be an astronaut. I think they make you shave. I think it's a requirement that you shave the beard if you're an astronaut. So, all right, here we are. We are going to review some portfolios. We're going to review Olivier's portfolio, who's been with us for the last 3 days. We're really excited to check out your work, and Mark Oliver as well. We are going to be checking out your work today on the stream. Excellent. All right, should we dive in, Pek?
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we have a bunch of really great XD projects here on Olivier's site, right off the bat, which, you know, bonus points.
Yeah.
I like seeing that. Maybe others.
Maybe.
Where do you want to start?
I would start with just imagine someone who doesn't know you coming in. They see a bunch of work right away. Be great to understand, you know, what do you do, right? Like, it's obvious you're a designer. But maybe kind of tell us a little bit, just to have a one-liner, like, you know, hey, I'm a designer in such and such, you know, how many years of experience you have, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just a little short bit, just to kind of set the base. Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's a really good suggestion. I think it's something that you know, Pek has thought a lot about, and some of the things we talked about in designing Pek's site, redesigning Pek's site, is really giving, again, like, really thinking about your portfolio like as another chance to communicate and message.
Yeah.
I see Olivier is actually using portfolio from a Behance as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that's a really great way to sort of take some of those Behance projects and get them up on a site. And again, you know, thinking about your site and the goals that you have. You know, so if the goal is to get a client, you know, versus maybe get hired, you know, like you want to really think about your site, your portfolio as a design problem, right, and really state very clearly your goals and what you're trying to achieve, and then tailor the whole story of your portfolio like to meet that, right? Yeah. So, you know, I see that you've got you know, the 3D booth one here kind of stands out next to the other UX ones, and that I think it's really valuable to show kind of a breadth of experience, Olivier. But I think for one of the lessons that I've learned is when you're, you know, going and say maybe you're using your portfolio to say get a job, and maybe that job is in the UX field, you might want to keep the 3D booth design in your back pocket and really highlight and really up level like all the UX work instead of make that the primary message of the portfolio.
It's good to have that focus, right? People kind of humans are simple creatures. They tend to bucket other people into one niche, right? So even us, even though we're a full service studio, a lot of companies still think of us as a pure design studio. Just from the initial, that's how we started.
Yeah.
I would also add as feedback here is, kind of going back to my problem solving for our website is when your prospective customers finally contact you, what are the different questions they have? What do they always ask? And those might be kind of surfaced here because they're going to have the same questions even on the website. So by addressing them head on right there, it just makes it more convenient.
Yeah, definitely.
For example, like me, I'd like to know where you're working from, where you're located. If I want to hire you, what time zone am I dealing with, right? Like stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, going back to some of the things we were talking about with your site, one of the main problems that you had that you'd heard from customers was that when they came on and saw like the logos of the companies you've done work for, if they didn't think of themselves in the class or the type of company that you were displaying, like that was a problem. They wanted to see that you've done work for companies like them.
Right.
Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about using some of maybe the mechanisms of the web to sort of dynamically sort of filter some of those, again, to sort of address the audience that's going to be coming to your site.
Yeah.
And so as you get bigger, again, those problems become a little more complex, and I think you can utilize the web platform to your advantage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
like it'd be great to be able to have maybe just like the headers of
so
the type
different work,
right? Like mobile. I see some maybe things that look like game. You got packaging design. So they also become almost like a list of services that you offer. Like hey, there's 3D work, there's packaging design, there's game, apps and stuff like that, and then I can filter them through like that. And then it's like, oh, and I see the heading, so that also helps with the SEO and discovery.
Yeah. All right, let's dive in here and let's go check out some of these projects. All right. So this is AI Waves version 2 Deep Learning XD Daily Challenge. Oh, yeah. Nice to see a lot of those up on the site. I mean, it's a great place to get experience. Again, you want to kind of talk, I think, going back to your earlier comment, really framing kind of where you're at and what services you offer or where you're at in your career, again, to give the right context to the work. And so looking at this, I think I would maybe start to assume that like you're just starting out, you're using these challenges as a way to build experience and show off your skills as a visual designer, right? It's nice seeing kind of everything. I think you are thinking about kind of how the work is displayed, I think, which is great. Using some of these templates to help kind of make your designs feel real, right? Feel that real on the devices that they're created for, which is really nice.
I like the presentation. It's really good. You're thinking about staging and presenting the work.
This is really nice.
Yeah.
So I can show them some of the different states of the application. I don't know what I feel about these, to tell you the truth, everybody. And this is, not specifically about, I think I've seen this on Dribble. This is kind of a Dribble thing right now.
Yeah,
sort of like
perspective.
Yeah, like I think Olivia, maybe 1 or 2 like this is good. I think maybe like what I'd like to see in some of these projects is the focus on the design, and I think sometimes showing too much of the sort of like the sort of in product shots can become a little distracting, maybe mask the design. Yeah. I'd really like the design to start.
Is this essentially the same screen?
It's essentially, I think it's essentially the same screen.
It's the same screen. Imagine people have a limited attention span.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you don't want to be too redundant.
Yeah, so I think, I think as an intro, kind of a way to kind of intro and give a nice kind of vibe to the overall project, showing the in-product shots I think are great. And I think, now I think what we'd like to start sort of seeing is a little bit about focusing on the design and maybe even a little bit about process, right? And I think that's one thing that you'll see that you can go and kind of look at a lot of case studies, look at some of Pek's on his Behance site. One of the things that I'm looking for, and we were just hiring some designers over the past 3-4 months here, really looking for, okay, do they have design skills? Okay, you know, I can assess that very quickly, get a real sense of like, you know, what their craft or their skills are like. But then I want to see a lot about process.
Yeah.
You know, at that point, I want to see like, how do you solve problems?
Yeah.
You know, how best can you do that? And I think, you know, case studies and looking at the different case studies that the designers are doing and sharing on their sites is kind of a great first start.
Yeah.
You know, kind of just building on some of those templates would be a great way to sort of up level kind of the thinking or the story behind kind of what behind the project.
And this is personal for me. This is just my personal opinion is when I start with a showcase, I like to start with the most really capture their attention right away and get them hooked with the most interesting screen. Because I might lose them. You know, people have very short attention spans. You know, like if they don't see something that's interesting them, they move on. Right? Your competition is a click away in the address bar, so you want to capture their attention right away with the most interesting thing you got. And then you got my attention. Now I'm going to go through all the whole page. So then I can kind of walk you through how I got there.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go look at that. I'm really interested in this this crazy chicken challenge. Oh, very nice. Fun. Using dimension. I need to do one of the dimension challenges. It's a nice sort of like little product like shot layout.
I love it.
Those are great. They're very nice.
It's really good.
Looking good. It's not. Again, I think you definitely. Once you, again, if you were going for a UX design job or you're trying to get a UX, you know, like do some UX work for a client, you know, I think it's fine to have that other work on your site still. You know, I love to see the diversity and the breadth of someone's sort of interests. So, you know, again, that's one of those levels that I look for in portfolios that are coming my way as I'm evaluating, you know, potential sort of hires for our team. So I love seeing that. But again, I think, you know, reinforce like, you know, tailor that message to the job that you want or to the client that you want. At all times. I think that's kind of a good statement kind of across the board. Yep.
And I'd like to add, you know, as you progress, you know, you don't need to show everything. You know, if some of the earlier work, you look back, you know, 3 years from now and you've progressed and you're much better, and you're like, that looks kind of strange now to me as I look back and I'm a more mature designer. Feel free to just kind of pull it out. Or go even better, you know, going back and improving upon it. You know, some of the stuff we've done for clients, so some of the stuff we show on Dribbble and Behance, even though we've done it for the client, this was probably not the version we shipped because maybe they needed it within a month and we rushed it out and it wasn't quite as polished. But then kind of after the fact for this presentation, like, let's go back and clean this up a little bit because I wasn't quite happy with it, but they rushed it out, you know, rushed us through the door with it. So, like, okay, but now I have, you know, with your portfolio, you can take the time.
Here's a question for you, Pek, and I think this is one that I've always tried to think a lot about as well. Is like, how real, how representative of real or the thing that shipped do you like to be with your case studies in your portfolio for your site?
You know, we as real as possible, but if you're not proud of it, you know, you would, you know, because what's not shown in the portfolio is the budget, you know, and the timeline, right? Like, if it was done super fast, you know, it looks okay. Like, if there's stuff that like really bothers you, you know, just go in there and fix it for the presentation. Cool.
All right. Excellent work, Olivier. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us. I said, like, thanks for joining the chat too. We loved sort of chatting with you and seeing your work. So thanks. Hope that helped. All right, let's move over to Mark. Mark Oliver, EDO. Yes, let's go look at this Behance portfolio from Mark. This is looking great. I mean, I think, you know, this is. Behance is a challenge, right? Because you are trying to draw people in with very small thumbnails, right? I'm actually going to zoom in just a little bit so we get a closer view of this. But this is kind of, again, its own design challenge, right? How do I best use my Behance portfolio to showcase my work? And you really are speaking and trying to draw people's interest with a very small thumbnail.
Yeah.
Dribble's kind of the same way as well. Dribble has a very similar challenge, right? Like so. I think the first thing is you always need to be thinking about the form, right, that the portfolio is taking, whether it's on a platform or your own site. And Mark, I think right off the bat, I'm immediately drawn to a few of these. In particular, I like this top row and kind of coming down to the first two here on the site. I think the other ones as they start to get a little busy, like these ones start to be less successful. And again, where I think these thumbnails are really working for you. Here. These thumbnail images.
Any chance we'll ever get? Can we do GIFs on these thumbnails? Kind of like.
Behance team. If you're watching, they might have an answer.
Because then you can, just to maybe on hover, kind of just similar to Dribble, kind of tell that story.
I'm sure they've got it. Like somebody's thought about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they can give us an update. All right, let's go dive in. Anything else you want to sort of talk? Because you've actually mentioned that your studio has utilized Behance, again as a platform for discovery, for your studio as well. What other benefits what other things do you guys think about as you're prepping work for Behance?
Yeah, so one of the ways we think about it, if you're working on an application, for example, new products or very specialized things that people might not have heard of, we with the titles, we're very descriptive. So just maybe if we can switch over real quick. If you look at the title, right? People, if I called it by, this, let's say it's a startup or if it's a really small company that nobody's ever heard of, and we worked on an app for them, we can call it that. Nobody, people aren't searching for that necessarily, but other companies who are working on credit card management, for example, or hey, they had a restaurant reservation. That's what they're looking for. So kind of being very descriptive is helpful because people, if it's a very niche name that nobody's searching for. So what is the goal of this portfolio is to get jobs, right? To get work and to be discovered, to be seen. So why not make it very easy to be discovered and do a little bit of research on what people are searching for.
And there's kind of a whole thread there. I think if everyone's interested, you could learn more by looking at best practices for things like SEO, or again ways to optimize even like the time you post work. Like those are all things on these platforms that can actually be handy in helping people discover you on those platforms. So again, be thinking about the platform and the best ways to present your work to make it be the most discoverable on those platforms. All right, we come back, we'll start looking at some of Mark's work. So here I've clicked on the product site at the first project in Mark's portfolio. And of course, one of the things that's great about the Behance projects is that you can embed video and other media. Oh, there's a little playing action there. So showing.
I like it.
Switching between the different. Oh, Fujifilm. You got me here. I've got my X100F in my bag. My favorite, probably pretty much one of my favorite things ever. All right, so seeing some of the. So this is a little product hunting site. For the X series cameras.
So I might call this project, like might be like e-commerce, consumer e-commerce or something like that, so that it's
connected to things that clients might be looking for. Yep, definitely. And I think Behance gives you other tools to help optimize that. So you have the tags. So you got the title and you've got the tags.
Use tags.
Use all of those.
Use collections. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think on this one, this is kind of giving us the screens without context, and kind of similar to some of the feedback we gave to Olivier. Again, like when you're presenting work, I think it's great to sort of show the visuals, but then to give the viewer some context, right? To what was the motivation behind the project, if there was a client, again, what was the briefing maybe that you were given as a freelancer or as a studio. And then maybe giving some description of the process you went through to come to the solution, the design solution.
And if possible, maybe even show the before and after.
Before and after, that's a really good point. Let's hop over here. This one was very eye-catching. I think I love seeing things a little more contrast, a little black and white. You don't see that very often, so it stands out. So this is a little architecture catalog site. Immediately what I like kind of here, which is something that you know, as you're thinking about like the scroll, on Impeccable's site, I like to think about it almost like I used to think about. I think about editorial design too, or book design. Is that there really can be, you can utilize things like a flow, right? You can really utilize, like, you can vary layout, scale, contrast to really keep interest, right? So rather than just sort of like scrolling through like a bunch of, you know, images that are the same size and the same ratio and kind of occupy the same space, that as you scroll, you actually get some, you can use layout to tell a story there. So I immediately almost like this jump, even though it's sort of representing the same image. I love that, like, there's this one image of the site that's framed here, and then now we have this full bleed.
I love it.
That's a really nice moment, you know. And I think, you know, Behance, you can kind of use different sizes of layout, and you can also use different image sizes to kind of help with that. Again, just give a little variety. And I think, you know, on Pek's site, if you go check out his Behance portfolio, as they build their case studies, they're building in some variety, you know, in layout and content, and, you know, different ways to sort of showcase the design. And I think that's, you know, those, be aware of that.
So yeah, I like the contrast, the framing, and then go into the full bleed. Again, I am not sure what was done and what was the prior art, and you know what was the ask, and you know, so a bit more context
would always be great.
Would be great.
Let's go jump in. Let's go a little. We're gonna go maybe on this one. Let's go see this one. Nice. All right. I mean, yeah, I think, you know, Mark, I think you've got great style chops. I really like, I think the colors are all really clicking on all your projects. Everything feels very consistent and cohesive. It's really great to have in UX projects as well. So I think that's all really great. And
I think you need to, the advice I would give is you need to tell the story of the work. I can show, maybe if we can switch to the example, our Behance. You know, every case study we have put on here, we say, this is the work we've done. You know, we did the UI UX, we did visual design, you know, these are essentially also tags, giving a little context of what it is, what the project is, and then what we did. So like drilling down into the specifics, you know, not just presenting the work and not explaining it. So this is like, you know, we
here, actually, here.
So that's exactly that. Exactly.
There you go. So here's one actually. Mark, you've got your eye on this. So exactly. I think, again, utilizing the Behance layout to give.
Or is this the website? Is this the client website?
Oh, maybe the client website. Good point. Gosh, which was the one you mentioned? There was one that our Adobe Live team was calling specific attention to. Oh, here's a dashboard.
Yeah.
Right here. Yeah. Here's an enterprise dashboard. Very nice. You know, seeing it like, you know, like this is again sort of varying the shots. I think we like that about Olivier's work. Great work, Mark. We're kind of running out of time, but you know, again, I hope some of this feedback was helpful. I love seeing the work, guys. Again, if you want to share work, I love seeing the great work you guys are creating out there. Always happy to give feedback. This is my first portfolio review on the stream too, so I'm happy.
Really?
That was exciting.
Yeah.
So, well, Pek, this was great to have you on. Thanks so much.
That's so much fun.
Thanks. I'm seeing you do great work in XD. Again, just gets me motivated. Anything else you kind of want to say, like, about?
It's been a pleasure. Yeah. This is a nice break from, you know, doing the grind of running a small business. So I get to design, as it is, you know, prior life before I became a small business owner. I love enjoying doing design. So this is great to be able to do this.
It's great to have you on.
Yeah.
You guys hit us up on Twitter. Said we are always happy to answer questions and to share work. Stick around for Paul and Cindy next. They're going to give another chance to win, and they're going to do some more portfolio reviews at the end. Pek, it's been great being here with you
it's been
all
a pleasure.
week, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks.
Right.
Keep it up. We're gonna keep sharing new features for you with you in XD. So
Yeah. Pre-release.
always love
baby.
the feedback. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.